Day 10. I'd like to talk about an interesting little concept that I've become aware of in, I guess about the last 5 years. And it is the idea that disability might not be what we think or have been taught. Um, I grew up with the messages that disabilities were horrible things to have and they affected in insidious ways, made you a lesser person, not capable, to be pitied. There's a lot of negatives in there. But at some point, somebody came up with a clever idea that disability is really in the eyes of the beholder or the systems around you. Because if you think about, there are many animals out there who don't have the same range of senses as another animal. And can we really call them disabled, particularly with one respect to another? And so this was kind of an interesting idea. And when you take that further, you can start to look at it in the same population of the same species. When you get into the realm of humans, we have built a lot of technology and rituals and expectations that have centered around pretty much a very high standard of sensory and motor skills. And as time has passed and we celebrated youth and athletics and those sorts of things, at least here in the Western world, the problem just became more and more pervasive to where only an elite few could actually meet those standards. And so this concept where maybe our disability is more of a social construct, a consequence of our social behaviors and expectations rather than a disability. It's the way we are. It's nature breeds a variety of instances of the same type of creature. No one individual is a race, nor is a race one individual. So, thinking about this idea has really made me question a lot of our assumptions and attitudes about disability. Um, my personal one with blindness is, well, at least with me, it was very illuminating. As I went from a very high functionally low vision person to a, a pretty much non-functional blind person because I didn't have the skills, the training, the resources, or the avenues to find them. When it all came crashing down, there was not the way to recover in such a way where it wasn't a hiccup. It was, my life eventually blew up. So I carried around a lot of resentment for that until this concept came and kind of shed some understanding to I am a part of the puzzle, but I'm not the puzzle. There is other pieces around me. And society has this expectation, and I used to fit in a certain spot, and I don't anymore. I'm a new piece. And we all change and morph and change. And society likes to keep that same picture and that same puzzle and the same expectations and shapes. And I think that's where a lot of the problems really come from, is these societal norms that we teach our young who have no experience, no way of saying, no, you're wrong. There is another way, dad or mom or sister, uncle. The only time that they get a counterpart is when I or someone like me or someone with something different about them is in their life regularly. Our society tries to live up to this ideal, and anyone who falls to the wayside is discarded. And that is a lot of value, manpower, and skill to ignore. At least that's how I'm thinking. You tell me what you're thinking, because this is not a new concept. I definitely look it up and read about it. And I want you to think about this. Everybody says there's so few people out there with a disability, particularly blindness. They always say, oh, there's so few of you. Well, guess what? I got a whole community of blind people around me now. They were there. What I did is I took my own prejudice and barriers down and found them. So I ask you, what invisible barriers do you have around yourself that prevents you from seeing the spectrum of life? Until next day.